The land meant everything to me. It wasn't just property, it was inheritance, history, and a future I had been planning for years. The land came from my father, and before him, my grandfather. Quiet, open, untouched. A place where I planned to build something meaningful one day. Every document was clean, every boundary was legally defined. Or so I thought. I never imagined that one routine decision would expose one of the most outrageous violations of property rights I had ever experienced. I decided to order a professional land survey. Not because I suspected a problem, but because I wanted certainty before making long-term plans. The surveyors arrived early in the morning. They began marking corners, checking coordinates, and comparing physical boundaries with official records. Everything seemed normal, until it wasn't. One of the surveyors stopped walking and stared ahead. Then he looked at me and said something I'll never forget. "You know there's a house on your land, right?" I laughed at first. I thought he was joking. Then I followed his gaze. Right in the middle of my property stood a fully built house. Not a shed, not a temporary structure. A complete house. Driveway, power lines, water connection, landscaping. Someone had invested serious money into this build. My stomach dropped. I immediately pulled out my property deed and the survey map. We checked the coordinates again. Then again. There was no mistake. The house was not near the boundary, it was deep inside my land. I asked nearby residents how long it had been there. Their answer was simple. The HOA built it. That's when the shock turned into anger. I wasn't part of their HOA. My land was outside their jurisdiction. I had never signed anything. Never agreed to anything. Yet somehow, they had decided my property was theirs to use. I contacted a property attorney the same day. He reviewed my documents and said something that confirmed my worst fear. This wasn't an accident. They assumed you wouldn't fight back. Following his advice, I did everything by the book. I gathered every piece of evidence, deeds, survey reports, photos, timestamps. Then I issued a formal legal notice to the HOA. It demanded that all activity stop immediately, that the structure be removed, and that the land be restored. The notice was sent via certified mail. They received it. There was proof. Days passed. Then weeks. Nothing changed. Instead, I received a dismissive response claiming the house was part of a community expansion plan, and suggesting I should cooperate for the greater good. In other words, they expected me to surrender my land quietly. Even worse, people continued using the house as if nothing was wrong. Utilities remained active. HOA members walked around confidently, almost mockingly. That's when I realized something important. They weren't negotiating. They were testing me. I documented everything. Photos, videos, logs. I informed local authorities in writing. I consulted my attorney again. He gave me the green light. If it's on your land, and you followed procedure, you have the right to remove it. I hired a licensed demolition contractor. On the day it happened, heavy machinery rolled onto my property. Bulldozers, cranes, equipment powerful enough to erase their arrogance in a few hours. HOA representatives rushed in, shouting, threatening lawsuits, accusing me of destroying community property. I didn't argue. I handed over my documents. Police officers reviewed everything and allowed the work to continue. The machines started. Walls cracked. Windows shattered. Dust filled the air. The house that never should have existed collapsed piece by piece. By sunset, it was nothing but rubble. Justice had a sound, and that sound was concrete. Breaking. As expected, retaliation came fast. The HOA sued me. They accused me of property damage, harassment, and acting in bad faith. Their lawyers tried to paint me as reckless and hostile. They talked about community loss and emotional damage. But emotions don't override facts. In court, my attorney presented everything. Legal ownership, certified surveys, proof of notice, evidence of trespass. The judge reviewed the records carefully. Then came the question that ended everything. Does the HOA own this land? They had no answer. The ruling was clear. The case was dismissed. The HOA was ordered to cover my legal costs. Their attempt to intimidate backfired spectacularly. I walked out of that courtroom knowing something important. The law still protects those who are prepared to stand their ground. Today, my land is quiet again. A clear, private property, sign stands where their house once did. My plans are back on track. And the HOA learned a lesson they won't forget. This wasn't just a fight over land. It was a reminder that power means nothing without legality, and that even the most confident bullies crumble when faced with documented truth.